How's it going, everybody? My name is Hyper, and today I'm going to be walking you through how to set up Darkflame Universe on a virtual private server on the cloud. And this is for multiplayer purposes. If you want to be just in play in single player, I already have a video out for a great single player option, so I'll have that link down below. This multiplayer guide is intended for playing with 4 to 5 people, mostly just your friends. And we'll be using Oracle Cloud to set up this server. There's a couple other options. There's Google Cloud and Amazon Web Services, but Oracle seemed to be the easiest to me, so that's what I'm going to be using. If you do want to use the other ones, it's a pretty similar setup process, but there also might be some more written guides out there that might help you with that situation. So before I begin, I just want to point out that I am here to help. If this video gets a little confusing at some point, you can always join my Discord server, and I am more than happy to help you there. And if you do want some more talented people to help you out, you can check out the Legal Universe subreddit and their Discord server, because people there know a lot more than I do, and they are also pretty helpful. I will have links to everything in the description, and I'll refer to them as we go through the tutorial. I also have a link to the original GitHub for Darkflame server, as well as the link to the written guide that I got my tutorial from, that I adapted it from. So this guy, Simon here, he made a fantastic written guide for installing the server on a VPS, and I adapted it from this into video format because some people just work better from videos like I do, so I just wanted to share this. And lastly, this free version of setting up a VPS, I believe, can only be done in the US because you have to have a service that supports having a free version, and as far as I can tell, that's only available in the US. You can set up a multiplayer server using a virtual machine, which is what Elocore did in his tutorial, but I won't be doing that today. The advantage of having a VPS is that you can have it on at all times without having to have your own computer on, so this will save on electricity and also allows your friends to play when you're not online. So now that I've got that out of the way, now we can begin. First thing is that you will need a credit or debit card to sign up for these services. They require you to sign up for their free trial, and they do check by taking your credit card and saving that to the account. You will not be charged anything. They might charge you a small, like $1 fee to verify that your card is real, but you'll get that money back after they verified. So what you want to do is go to oracle.com/cloud. I'll have the link to that in the description, and you can just click try Oracle Cloud for free, and then you can click start for free again, and it'll take you to sign up. You put in your region, your name, your email, and then you verify that, and then it'll ask for your payment information, so it'll ask for your billing address and a phone number. You do have to do this to be able to sign up. If you don't want to do that, you can check out the virtual machine tutorial from Elocore. You don't really have a way to get around this, but it's not really a big deal, because if you follow along and you don't click on anything else on the website, you won't get charged. So once you're signed up, you'll end up on this dashboard here. Up here, there'll probably be a little banner telling you that you do need to wait for your account to be verified, and that will take about 15 minutes. So you might have to just pause this tutorial and come back in half an hour or something so that you can actually get started, because until they verify it, you won't be able to use any of their services. But after that, you'll see a banner up here telling you that you have a certain amount of money left in your trial. Don't worry about the balance of this, because we're going to be using their free services, but if you do see that it goes below 300, make sure and you find out what you used, because if you keep it at 300, you'll never be charged for anything, especially after your trial has ended. I've had the trial for 10 days already, so I have 20 more, but after that, I'll be able to keep using the server even after my trial ends. Alright, so now we are going to create the virtual machine. So just click on the little hamburger menu up here, and then look in this side panel for compute. And then under compute here, we look for instances. This is the only page you'll ever go to on here, and any other pages that you need, you'll find in here too. So you can see that I already have a server that I did for testing, and this one is working, so I know that it's working. So now we're in here and create a compute instance, and we can just name it whatever we want. We're going to name it Darkflame, if I can spell, Darkflame server. And leave the compartment the same, leave the placement the same. And image and shape, we're going to change some stuff here. So we want to change the version of Linux, because they have their own version, and we don't want to use that. So we're going to go in here, we're going to click change and then edit, and then in here we can see canonical Ubuntu, and then we want to keep it at version 20.04. and then just click select image. And then we can leave this the same. You can check that for this little badge that says always free eligible. That way you can know that you will not be charged once you use this. So networking stays the same. And here, this is extremely important. You want to be able to download your private key. You will need this to connect because you have to connect over command line to be able to interact with a computer. There's no web interface. Google Cloud does have a web interface to connect, but Oracle does not. So make sure you download this key. Save it somewhere you know you'll be able to find it. I'm just going to save it on my desktop because that's usually where I put all my stuff. And then you can leave all the options here the same and then click create. So it'll take a minute for the server to actually start, but you'll notice over here on the right side that there will be, under instance access, there will be public IP address. And this is what you are going to be using in the client, in your SSH, which I'll get into in a moment, and also your username for when you're trying to sign in and actually access the computer. Before we do anything with the virtual machine, we're going to look over here under instance details and virtual cloud network. There's a blue little link here. It'll just be the date and then some random numbers. So we're just going to click on that. It'll take us to this new page over here. And then there's a table here and it'll say subnet. You click on that link and then security list, and then look for the default. This should be the only one. Then you click on that. And then we got a little table here of a couple rules, and they might not make any sense to you, but what we really want to do is we're opening up ports so that people outside of the network can actually connect to this server and play with you. So we're going to click on add ingress rules, and from here we are going to enter a bunch of numbers. So in this box right here, source CIDR, make sure it's selected as CIDR right here. We're going to type 0.0.0.0/0. And then first we're going to select from this drop down, this IP protocol, we're going to select UDP. And then we're going to leave this box blank. And from here, we're going to type 1000, 1001, and commas, add a comma between each one, but you don't have to worry about adding a space. And then 2000, comma 2005, comma 3000, and then a dash, 4000, comma 3306, comma 5000. And then right here you can click add another ingress rule, and you can copy it here. You can copy the source and put it here again, and then copy this and put it here. And then we're going to change this. If it's not already at TCP, you want to drop down and select TCP, and then click add ingress rules, and then you'll see them all pop up in this table, and that's exactly what we want to do. So once you see all that in there, you can go back. So we're going to go back to the menu, compute, and instances again. So now we can see that our server is running, and now we need to connect to it from our computer. And again, if you did not download those private SSH keys, like I said before, you will have to start over. So what you want to do is go to the link in the description that says PuTTY, and what you want to do is download this client. It's pretty easy download. Just install it, and then once you get it installed, you can open it up, and you'll see this little window. It's a pretty simple window. Let me close that so you can focus on it. There's a lot of stuff in here that we're not going to be using, so don't worry about it. What you want to do is go back to your cloud page, and you want to copy this IP address and write it down, or just make sure you leave this page open so you can always get back and see the IP address. So from here, we are going to we're going to paste our IP address in this host name box. And then on this column here, we're going to look for this little connection menu. If it's not already open, you can click the little plus and then open that. And then we're going to look at data. And then the auto login username is going to be our username that's right here, and it should be Ubuntu by default. So next you're going to want to open up your Windows search and type in PuTTY-gen. This is another application that gets installed when you install the main application. So open that up, and it'll open up this little window here, and this will be a key generator, and this is how we're going to connect. So from here, we want to go to conversions and then import key, and then go to where you saved that SSH key we just downloaded and open it up, and you'll see all this. And I'm not going to blur any of this because I'm deleting the server after I make the video. All right, so that's all you have to do here, and then down here you can click on save private key. and then it'll warn you that you didn't put a password. Don't worry about it. Just put it on the desktop, and then just name it whatever you want. I'm gonna name it server-key, and then it'll save as a .ppk, just for reference. So now that should be saved. We can close this window, and back in PuTTY we can look at connection, and then under SSH we can expand this and click on auth. And from here we can see this little box here. This is where we get our key. So we're gonna click browse, go to where we just saved that private key, and you can see here server-key, and click open, and then now it'll have the directory to that key. Then we're going to scroll up, go to session, and then we're going to type in the name of a saved session in this box right here. We can name it whatever we want, doesn't really matter. I'm just going to name it DLU, and then you can click save, and then it'll save it as a new session. And since I have my old one on here, I will show you just for reference, or actually I'll click on the default. So you can click load, and then it'll load up whatever was saved to that setting. So if you click on your save session, it'll load up, and it'll have your IP address, and it'll have all the authentication stuff that you need. So now we can click open, and then it'll open up a new window. I wish I can't. Okay, so it'll show this little window here. It's going to warn you that you need to accept the certificate. Just click accept, and then now you'll be in a terminal window, and it'll say connecting, and then now we are in. So we're going to install one more program before we get started with the setup on Ubuntu. So we're going to go to another link in the description, filezilla-project.org. Then you want to click on download FileZilla client. When you're installing it, it'll ask you to install additional software. Make sure you say no. It won't hurt you, but it is annoying to get that bloatware when you're installing a new program. Once you get it installed, you can open it up, and your window will look something like this. You'll see your file directory here, and from here you want to go to File, then Site Manager, and then you can already see that I already had a site here before, but we're going to click New Site, and our protocol right here, we're going to do SFTP, and then our host will be that IP that we had earlier, and the logon type in this dropdown, we'll click Key File, and then the user will be Ubuntu. And then the key file, just like before, we'll do browse, and then select that server-key.ppk. So now we have that all set, and then we click rename, and we can rename it whatever you want. I'm just going to call it DLU. Hit enter, and then I'm not going to click connect right now, but we can just click OK, and we'll go back to it in a minute. Now we can open up our PuTTY window again and see the terminal here. I want to make this much bigger so that you can actually see everything. Now that we're in here, we are going to run through some quick maintenance stuff. It is going to be pretty slow doing a lot of these things because you are on a free computer, and it is a very slow computer. It has very little memory, very little processing power. So some of these things that might take 20 minutes on your computer at home is going to take an hour. So this is ending up being a long process, but it is worth it because you can access your stuff from anywhere. So all we're going to type is sudo, it stands for super user do, and then we're going to type apt, and then update, and then hit enter. And then it's just going to go through, and it's going to pull all these packages from the internet and update the registry on your computer to install these packages. This could take a while, could not. Once it finishes, it just says done, and it'll give you back to your command line. And now what we're going to do is we're going to update all the packages we have installed. So we're going to type sudo again, then apt, upgrade. This is different. This is upgrade, not update. And then -y. And the -y just confirms all these package installations so that you don't have to click Y on every single package you install. If this warning menu shows up and it just says the ask to save current IPv4 rules, just hit enter. And then it'll say ask for IPv6, and then you just hit enter again. It might take a few minutes, and it might hang around on 98 or 99% a little bit, but don't worry, it's still working. So once you get that installed, we're going to install some programs onto our computer. So we're going to type sudo again, and then apt-get, so get, and then install, and then -y. And we're going to write off a bunch of different things here. These are all different programs, dependencies, and just random stuff that we need all of it for our process here. So we're going to type GIT, and then we're going to put a space between each of these, and they're all one word, so make sure you don't separate them on accident. And we're going to type GCC, then C, the word make, so CMAKE, and then build dash essential, and then space, and then ZLIB 1G dash DEV, and then space, and then Maria, so the name Maria, MARIA, DB dash server, space Python 3, space Python 3 dash PIP, and then SQLite 3, space net dash tools, space unzip, so UNZIP, and then DOS, the number 2, then UNIX, and then TMUX. Then once you type all that in, you can pause and take a look at this, make sure you typed all the right stuff in, and then just hit enter, and all these programs and stuff will be installed. Alright, so all that software is installed now. It might take maybe a few minutes, it shouldn't be too long. Now we're going to do some stuff on the other side of the networking. So we port forwarded on Oracle side, but now we're going to port forward on the computer side. So we're going to do type CD and then space and then /home/Ubuntu. And when you do that, you'll see that it doesn't actually show any directory here. That's normal, and that's just how they shorten it. So if you ever see just this squiggly line right there, that means you're in /home/Ubuntu, so don't forget that. So now that we're here, we're going to type sudo and then IP tables dash save, and then we're going to do the the less than symbol. It's on the period key on your keyboard, and then we're going to do another space and then firewall backup dot rules. That's my bad. I think I mistyped that. I think it's supposed to be IP tables dash save, and this is just a backup of your firewall in case something gets typed in wrong, so that you can fix it. So now we're going to type sudo again, and then IP tables, and then dash uppercase I, and then uppercase input 1, and then dash P, TCP dash M multi port, and then 2 dashes dash dash D ports 5000 dash J, and then all caps accept. And then if something happens, that's good, and we're going to do that again with a different thing. So we're going to do sudo IP tables dash I uppercase, and then input uppercase, and then 1 dash P. This time we're going to type UDP, and then dash M multi-port, and then dash dash D ports, and we're going to type a couple here. So we're going to type 1000, comma, no space, 1001, 2000, and then we're going to do a colon, 2200, comma, 3000, colon, 3200, and then 3306-J, and then accept in all caps. And now that is all set up, and we're going to save our new rules. We're going to type sudo su, and this is going to put us in the root user, and we don't want to stay in this because it can mess with permissions, and it can also lead to some insecurities in your thing. So we're going to type IP tables dash save, and then we're going to do the less than symbol again, and then /etc/IP tables /rules.v4. Then we're going to hit enter, then that's saved, and then exit. Alright, so now we get to do the fun part of installing the server. First, we're going to download the repository from GitHub. Make sure that you have the little squiggly line here to make sure that you're in your home/Ubuntu, and we're going to type git, and then clone, and then 2 dashes, dash dash recursive, and then we're going to type the link to the GitHub repository. So we're going to type https://github.com/darkflame. And then the D is capital and the U is capital, or sorry, the S. Wait, no, yeah. Darkflame universe, capital D, capital U, and then / and then Darkflame, make sure I spell it right, Darkflame server, capital D, capital S, and then hit enter, and it'll clone, it'll do lots of stuff, and then it should make a new directory for you to log into. So it looks like everything went okay, so we're going to type cd, and then capital D, Darkflame server, and then hit enter, and now we are in the Darkflame server directory. So now we're going to type mkdir-p and then build. This is the folder that we're going to be working out of a lot, so make sure that you don't forget where that is. So we're going to now type cd build, and now we're in that build folder. And then this is going to take a really long time. This is the second longest process that we have here. So we're going to type cmake and then space and then 2 periods. So this little bit is kind of fast, but the part after it is what takes a long time. Once it's done, it says configuring and generating done, and say where the build file is written to, so you know that's all right. And then all we're going to do is type the word make. And once you hit enter, this is going to take 35 minutes approximately. That was what happened when I did it my first time. It could be faster or slower, so I'd say 30 to 45 minutes is about how long this will take. The reason is because this virtual machine has 1 core for CPU and like half a gig of memory, so it's super slow. So this would take maybe 10 minutes on your computer. This is going to take over half an hour. So just be patient, just set this and wait until it finishes. Alright, so that just finished, and again it took about 35 minutes, maybe 40. So now we're gonna move on to the database setup, and again I want to reiterate what this directory means, because all it shows is Darkflame server /build, but it is not. That is not the actual directory. If you wanted to get to this directory, which you would need to if you were started for some reason, you would type cd, and then you can see the little squiggly line. That means that you're in the /home/Ubuntu, and then it would be Darkflame server and then /build. So just don't forget that, because I think that was a common issue that I saw a lot, was people just missing that part of it and not being able to get in because they just type cd Darkflame server, but that wouldn't take you anywhere because you're in the wrong spot. Alright, so from the build directory that we just moved to, we want to run a couple commands. So we're going to type sudo and then service and then mysql and then start. Alright, nothing happened, that's good. Then we're going to do sudo and then mysql, then underscore secure, then underscore installation, and hit enter. Then it's going to ask you a couple questions. Just answer them exactly as I do here. So it's first going to ask for your password for the root. We do not have a password, so we're going to hit enter. And then it's going to ask to set a root password. We're going to say type Y and hit enter. And then enter a password here, and do not forget this password. You're going to need this whenever you set up your database tables in your server, and also just to get back in, you're going to need the password. So just remember what it is, type it as it is, and it's going to ask you to retype it, as most password places would do. So once you get that successfully, it's going to ask you to remove anonymous users. Click Y and then hit enter, and then disallow root login remotely and click no. So type N and hit enter, because if you do this, you will not be able to get in through this method, and that's the only method, so you kind of mess up there. So you want to make sure that you hit no. And then remove test database and access to it, and hit Y and hit enter, and then reload the privileged tables, yes. And then that should all be done. Now we can log in to the database, so we can type sudo and then mysql-u and then space root, and then now we're logged in. And then everything that you type in this interface is typed differently. So it's going to be all in caps. So you can type, you can hit caps lock and you can type create database DLU and then semicolon. That's the colon with the little dash mark, and then hit enter. And then it says create OK one row affected. That's good. Every line has to end in the semicolon. So don't forget it when you're typing it out. And from this point forward, I want you guys to try to name everything the same that I am. You don't have to do this if you're comfortable, but it's going to make it way easier for me to help you if you need it, if you name everything the same that I do here. So now we're going to type use DLU and then semicolon, hit enter. So now we're in the DLU database. And now we're going to type source, and then this will be in lowercase, and then do space, and then 2 periods / migrations / DLU / 0_initial.SQL, and then semicolon, hit enter. And then that should take just a second, and it looks okay. And now we're going to make a user for our server to log in with. So we're going to type create user, and those are both all caps. And then we're going to do a single quote, and then DLU server, and then single quote, and we're going to type an @ symbol. And then we're going to type another single quote, and local host, all one word, another single quote, and then these 2 words are in caps, identified by. Then this is where you put your password. You don't have to put the password I'm using. You can use whatever you want. Just again, don't forget it. If it's easier, just make it the same as the one you just set. So inside this single quote, we're going to type our password. I'm just going to do Lego Universe, and then single quote, and then a semicolon. Hit enter. If zeros are affected, that's perfect. And then all caps, grant all privileges. Sorry, I was reading on DLU. All caps, and then a period, and then an asterisk. It's on the 8 key when you press shift, and then space 2, the word 2, all caps, and then again we're going to do single quote DLU server, single quote @ and then single quote local host, single quote, and then semicolon, hit enter, and then all caps flush privileges. Sorry, it's a hard word to spell. I have to spell it out while I'm saying it. Semicolon, hit enter, and then that's all set for the database. We're going to hit exit. Now this is the part that's going to take a while. This is a part that will take about an hour. You don't have to be there the whole hour, but it does take a while. So we're going to do cd/home/Ubuntu. And now we're back here with just the squiggly line. And we're going to type sudo su, and then we're going to do chmod -R, capital R, 755, and then Darkflame server. Make sure that the capital D and the S are there, and then hit enter, and then nothing should happen. That means you're all good, and then hit exit. And that's just changing the permissions of the server folder and all the folders inside it so that we can access it from our computer. So now we're going to go to the build directory. So we're going to do cd darkflame server, and then /build. And then once we're here, we're going to do mkdir-p, and then res. Well, I'll refer to that as res, and hit enter. And then we're going to do one more. We're going to do mkdir-p, and then locale with an e. And then we're hit enter. So those folders are there. And now we're going to open up FileZilla, which we set up just a moment ago. And we're going to go to File, Site Manager. And then from here, we can see our DLU. And then we're going to go over here and click Connect. So it's going to connect, it's going to use our username, it's going to use the key that we put in, and if all goes well, we're connected, and now we can see the files of our virtual machine. So we can see the Darkflame server folder right here, and we want to copy a lot of files, and this is what's going to take a long time because the network is very slow and the processor is really slow, so this takes a long time. But it also might be faster because I don't have the greatest internet, like the upload speed, it's like 3 megabytes. So if you have faster internet, this might go faster, ideally. So we're going to open up the Darkflame server folder, and then we're going to go to build, and then we are going to look at res, this res folder, and it's going to be empty. And now this is the part where you need a client for LEGO Universe. I cannot legally tell you where to get one, but there's a lot of places online. You just got to search for it a bit. But make sure you get the unpacked client. A lot of the clients are packed, which means that you won't be able to see the files that we need to copy over here. So make sure that it's unpacked. There is a tool to unpack it, but I honestly can't make sense of it. So if you do need help, then you can join the Darkflame Universe Discord server, and they might be able to help. So this right side column is the remote site. That's our virtual machine, and on the left side is our own computer. So you're going to want to find the folder of the client that you extracted. I have this one here, and you're going to see lots of stuff. You want to click on res here, and there should be all these folders. If you have one that's packed, it's only going to have like 5 folders, but that's the wrong one. So you need to make sure you get an unpacked one. And from here, there's a couple folders we're going to want to copy over, and we're going to look for macros. Just click it and then drag it over to this box right here where it says empty directory listing. So just drop it there, and then we're going to take brick models and do the same thing, and the names folder, same thing here, and then maps right here, do the same thing. Then scroll down a bit and look for the chat plus enus.txt, and we're going to copy that one over to this folder as well. So while that's going, we're going to go back to this build folder up here, and from here we're going to look at the locale, and on our local machine on the left side we're going to click these 2 dots here and look at locale on this folder, and then there's a locale.xml. Just copy that one file over to this folder here. And one more thing, we're going to click on these 2 dots again and look for a res, and then scroll down a bit and look for this cdclient.fdb. Again, this file will not be here if your client is packed, so make sure you have the unpacked one. And we are going to go back to the build folder here, and we're just going to copy this cdclient.fdb file in here. Make sure not to drop it on a folder here, but drop it on these files, and that way it'll copy over properly. Alright, so now that we've got all those going, we're going to want to wait for the transfer to finish, and again, it could take anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour depending on your internet speed and also the speed of the VM, so just be patient with that. But once you are done with that, you can head to the res folder in the Darkflame server VM and go to the res folder, and then you'll see a maps folder here. This is why we had to wait, because we needed the maps folder to actually exist. So for this last transfer, we're going to need to download a file, and I'll have a link to this website in the description, but it's right here, this navmeshes.zip file. So you can just go to this page, and then you can either click view raw or download, and then it'll just start downloading it. You can put it wherever, and I already have it downloaded, so it's on my desktop here. So once you get it, it'll be a zip file. So note that if you right click it and extract, and say extract to navmeshes, it'll create 2 folders, but you only want one. So I'll show you what I mean. So I just clicked extract here. It might have actually gone on my other desktop. Yeah, it did. So when you open it up, when you open up the navmeshes folder, you want to see just these bin files. You don't want it to be something like navmeshes folder, and then you open it up and there's another one that says navmeshes, because if you put it in like that, it would be wrong. So make sure that it's just the one navmeshes folder with the bin files inside it. So once you get that extracted, you can go back to FileZilla, and here we will go to the res folder on that side, go to maps, and then over on our side of the computer we'll go to wherever that folder is. So I'll go back a few steps, and I'm on my desktop, and I want to go to, and I just want to grab the navmeshes folder and drag it over. Make sure again to not drop it onto a folder, but drop it into this little white space here, and then that should transfer it over. And it should be pretty fast because they're not very big files. Alright, looks like everything finished transferring over, so now we can see we're in the maps folder, and we can see our navmeshes, and we click on that and we see the bin files, so that's correct. We can also verify this on our own machine if we want. We're in the build folder, we're going to change it to the res folder, and we can type ls, and we can see that we have our brick models, our macros, our maps, and our names folder, and our text file. So everything's there. So now we're going to run a few more final setup stuff before we get into the actual server configuration. So we're going to want to go to our terminal and type cd and then /home/Ubuntu, hit enter, and now we're here. And what we want to do is we're going to type pip3 and then space install and then space git and then the plus symbol and then https :// github.com/lcdr/utils. And this is the dependencies we need for this step that we're doing. So that's pretty quick install, and now we're going to type git clone and then the same link that we just typed, so https ://github.com/lcdr/utils. So now from the same point, we're going to type python 3 space and then utils/utils/fdb _to_SQLite .py and space, and make sure that this is the same capitalization because it is case sensitive again. So capital D Darkflame, capital S server /build /cd client.fdb, and this is one of the files that we just copied over using FileZilla, and then another space and then 2 dashes, so --SQLite _path, and then space, and then capital D again, Darkflame, capital S server /build /res, and then another slash, and then do capital CDS, and then so the last part is server, then .SQLite. So if you didn't copy over the file or didn't go to the right place, this command won't work. It might take a little bit just to compile all this information and transfer the tables from one language to another. Alright, so once that database is finished converting, it'll tell you where it's at, and that should be the last part that we type. So we can type cd Darkflame server /build /res, and then if we type ls, we can see cd server .SQLite. That's where we want it. So now we're gonna go to the build folder. If you're in a different place, you can type cd /home/Ubuntu /Darkflame server /build, and that'll get you to this build folder wherever you are on Linux on the terminal here. So hit enter, and then once we're in the build folder, we're gonna run 3 different commands, and I will say now that you have to be very particular with the spacing and stuff, and if nothing happens after you type it, that's a good thing, which seems kind of contrary to what you would expect. So we're going to type SQLite3 and then space res /cd server .SQLite, and again that is case sensitive, so the C, D, and S should be capitalized. Then we're going to do a space and then a less than symbol, then space and a double quote, and then /migrations /cd server, and that's all lowercase, and then /0_nt_foot race.sql, and then another double quote at the end. If you hit enter and nothing happens, you're all set. So now we're going to do this 2 more times with 2 different files. So we can, if you are on the command line and you press the up arrow, you can go to your previous commands. So we're going to do that, and we're going to look at the same command again, and we'll just backspace up until this / right here. So now we're going to type 1_fix _overbuild _mission.sql, and then we're going to put another double quote again. Hit enter, nothing happens. Awesome. So we're going to hit the up arrow again and backspace up to that / once more. Then we're going to type 2_script underscore component dot SQL and then a double quote. Hit enter. That one might take a little longer, but that one's good too. Those commands just correct some of the components of the database that we just copied over so that the game works properly. In the build folder, we're going to type cd res. Now we're in here and we're going to type dos2, the number 2, unix, and then we're going to type chat plus underscore en underscore us dot txt. Hit enter. That just corrects this chat file so that it fixes it for the general users in your server. Alright everyone, we're getting closer, so just bear with me. What we're going to do now is we're going to edit a few files that need to be changed before we can actually start the server. We're going to start with a few in the client on your local computer, so this is the folder that we've been copying files from. So find that folder, open it up, and now we're going to be working from the file explorer here. What we want to do is look in the main folder and find this file that says boot.cfg. What we want to do is right click it and click edit, and it'll ask you what you want to edit it with. I set Notepad as my default, so that's why it just opened right up. There are two things that you want to be looking for in here. We want to look for the auth server IP and the patch server IP. First, we're going to start with the patch server. So we're going to highlight this little bit that says localhost, and we're going to type 404.max over lac.dev. And then here, this localhost, we're going to find our little IP for our server, wherever it's at. I didn't have it copied, but you might already. We're going to paste that in, and just to make sure that you did this right, there's going to be 0 colon for both of them, and then it's going to end in a comma, so do not forget the comma. What this here is doing is it's pointing to HTTP server that errors out. What this does is it's pointing to a server that returns with a 404 error. I don't know why, but this fixes the brick by brick building mode. So make sure that you have that in here if you want to be using that mode. So since we got that done, we can click File and then click Save, and then close it. Now we're going to look at one more file here. We're going to go to the res folder, and then we will go to scripts, and then AI, and then we'll scroll down and find minigame, and then look at right at the bottom, survival, and then there's going to be 2 files here. We're going to want the one that says zone survival client. We're going to right click it, and before we can edit it, we have to go to the properties. So we're going to click on properties, and down here at the bottom you'll see that it says read only. If this is checked, you want to uncheck it, then hit apply, hit OK, and then now we can go in and edit or open with, and then just choose Notepad. So once we're in here, there's going to be a lot of stuff that most people won't understand, but it's okay because you don't need to. You just want to scroll right down to the bottom. And right here, one of the third to last line, it's going to say player ready. All we want to do is type ON right in front of player ready. So make sure it's still attached. So it's going to say on player ready now. And the on is lowercase. Now all you do is hit file and then hit save. Then that's it for the client. So now we need to edit some stuff for the server. Unfortunately, unlike my WSL video that I made, you can't edit stuff with just a normal text editor since we're connecting over SSH, so we're going to need to do it from the terminal. So it might be a little unfamiliar to people, but it's not too bad, so don't worry. So we're going to go to the terminal, and we want to go to the build directory, so I'm just going to do cd and then 2 dots, and that'll go back up a folder. So from here we're going to be using the nano program to edit the files that we need to. It's a pretty simple command line text editor. It might be a little unfamiliar to those of you watching, but it isn't too bad. So what we're going to do is we're going to type sudo and then nano and then world config.ini. Hit enter. So once we're in, we can see the text file open up. And to navigate this, you cannot use your mouse, you have to use the arrow keys. So you can go in all directions, you can go right, left, down, or up, and you just want to navigate through here for that and get to these right after these these equal signs. Sorry. If you use the same information that I did when we were setting up the MySQL database earlier, you can enter the same information that I am. So, but for everyone, the MySQL host is going to be localhost, and the database is DLU, and that might change if you named it something different. And then the username is DLU server. And the password is whatever you used earlier. I used Lego Universe, which isn't very secure, but it works. And before we close this file, there's one thing I want to add. You don't have to do this, but if you are planning on playing alone at some point, you cannot do the racing mode alone. It requires you to have another player. But if you scroll down with the arrow key, the down arrow key, you can look for this one item here that says solo racing equals 0. If you want to enable solo racing, you just delete the 0 and enter a 1. You don't have to do this again, but I just wanted to make that clear. So to save the file, we're gonna hit Control and X, and then it'll ask you to save the modified buffer. That just is asking you to save it, so you type Y, and then it'll ask you the name. Just hit Enter. You don't want to change the name of the file. So now we're going to do this 3 more times with 3 more files. So we're going to do sudo again, and then nano, and authconfig.ini. And again, it's the same thing. We're going to do localhost for the host. The database is DLU, all caps. The username is DLU server, and the password is whatever you used earlier. And here, there's one more thing that we have to do. We have to look for this external IP field, and we're going to delete where it says localhost, and we can either type or paste in our IP address. And to paste in here, you can't do Control V. That will do something different, so don't hit that. You can right click and it will paste it. It's a bit different function, but it still works. So again, you hit Control X and then Y, and then hit Enter. Then once more, we're going to do sudo nano, and then now we're doing chat config.ini. And once again, do localhost, and then, what is it? DLU, sorry, I blanked for some reason. DLU, and then DLU server, and then your password. And then once again, we're going to go here and paste our IP address in. Hit Control X, Y, Enter, and then last one, sudo nano, master config.ini. And there's a few more things that we want to add in here since we're going to be planning on having multiplayer functionality with this. We want to go down and look for use sudo auth. If it's not already set to 1, make sure it's set to 1. And right here, use sudo chat. You're going to delete that 0 and hit 1. And then use sudo world, and you're gonna, if that's not 1, you want to delete that 0 and put 1. Now we're going to do Control X, Y, Enter. So the last thing we're going to do before we start the server is we are going to set up the account manager. You can skip this step if you aren't going to be playing with anyone, but you want to set this up so your friends can make their own account without you having to do it from the command line. It makes it a lot easier for people who might not be as comfortable with the command line. So make sure you're in the build directory still, and then we're going to type sudo and then /master server, and the M and the S are capitalized, and then space and then -A. Hit enter, and this is going to be your admin account, so make sure that you remember this. You're going to type whatever username you want. I'm going to do hyper, and whatever password you want. I'm going to do Lego Universe. And then it's going to say that your account was created successfully. So now we're going to go to a different directory. We're going to type cd/home/Ubuntu. And from here, we're going to type git clone https://github.com/darkflame universe with a capital D and capital U, and then /account manager, a capital A and a capital M. Hit enter, and that is pretty fast. Just clones it to a folder. You can, if you type ls, you can see that now there's an account manager folder. So now we will type sudo apt install, and then -y, and then python 3 -test resources. And that test resources is all one word. Hit enter. Once that all finishes up, you're going to type cd account and make sure that the A is capitalized and manager, and then make sure the M is capitalized. Hit enter. So now we're going to want to go to this website that I have linked in the description, and we're going to generate a secure string for this credentials file that we're about to create. So this link will be in the description. It's just random.org, and what we want to do is generate one random string. Each string should be 20 characters long, and we're going to allow numeric digits, uppercase, and lowercase letters. And then just click Get Strings, and then it'll generate a string for you here. So you want to copy this, and then we're going to use it in a moment. So now we can go back to our terminal, and we can type sudo nano credentials.py. Hit enter, and this will open up a blank text file that hasn't been saved yet. So we're going to type a hashtag or a pound symbol, whichever one you feel is correct to you. And then we're going to type credentials.py, and then hit enter twice. And then we're going to type secret underscore key, and then a space, and then an equals, and a space, and a single quote. And then we're going to right click and paste that key that we just generated. So then we're going to put a single quote at the end, hit enter twice, and we're going to type an all uppercase db, typed it wrong, db underscore URL. And we're going to do space, equals, space, single quote, and then we're going to do mysql plus py_mysql, then colon, // and then we're going to type our database username that we've been typing in all these different files. So we're going to type dlu server, which is the username that I used, and then we're going to do colon, and we're going to put our password that we've been typing in. So Lego Universe is my password. I'm going to do @ and then local host, and then /dlu. And that last part is your database name. If you named it something different, make sure that that name is what you named it. Then we're going to end it with a single quote. It should turn green, and then we're going to click Control X, and then hit Y, and then hit enter. And now we're going to make one more file. We're going to do sudo nano resources.py. Now at the top we're going to do hashtag or pound again, and then resources.py. Hit enter twice, and then logo, all capital, and then space equals space, single quote, logo, /logo.png, single quote. Hit enter twice again, and then all capital, privacy underscore policy, and then space equals space, single quote, and then policy / privacy policy p.pdf. And make sure that the privacy and policy are capitalized, the first letter, and then that there's a space between them. And then hit enter twice again, and now we're going to type terms of use with underscores between the words, and all capital, space equals space, single quote, policy / terms of use .pdf. And terms and use, the first letter is capitalized, and there's a space between those words. And then we're going to hit Control X, Y, enter. So since we want to use the account manager, we have to have the server and the account manager running at the same time. But the way the terminal works is that you can only have one process running at the same time. So we need to create a second terminal session. And normally you could just do that by like adding a new tab in the interface, but since we're working strictly from the command line, we have to do a little workaround with a program that we installed earlier. So to create a new terminal session, we have to type tmux new -s, and then this is what we're going to call the session. We're going to call it dlu-server. And it's going to open up a new window here, and it's going to make it look like it's been cleared. And from here we want to type cd/home/ubuntu/darkflame server/build. And once we're in there, we want to type sudo./master server. Make sure that the M and S are capitalized. And this time we are not doing a -a. And this is actually going to start the server. So if everything has been followed as I've been doing so far, it should start correctly. Once you see ready zone 0 or ready zone 1000, that means that it's ready and started up fully. If you see this error during nav mesh load, that's normal. Now to get out of this terminal window, we want to hit Control plus B, and then it looked like nothing will happen, and then you hit the D key and it'll detach you. It'll say that you detached it, but that session is still running, so that means our server is still active. I'm going to show you this now. So if you want to log back into that terminal, you would type tmux a-t dlu server, whatever you called it, and then now you're back in here. And then again, you hit Control plus B and then hit D, and that detaches. So now we're going to make an account manager one. We're going to type tmux new -s and then dlu -account, and then we're going to hit enter. Once we're in here, we're going to type cd/home/ubuntu/account manager, and again make sure that the A and the M are capitalized. And now we'll type in python 3-m pip install -r requirements.txt. What that'll do will install some of the dependencies that we need to actually run this program. You'll only need to do this one time, so don't worry about it afterwards. Once that finishes up, you can type python 3 app.py, and that'll start up the account manager. If your screen looks like this, then you're all set, and now you want to actually log into it. So we're going to go and copy our IP again if you don't already have it copied, and you can access this from your browser. And what you want to do is type in http:// and then we're going to paste our IP, and then we're going to type :5000 and then /login. Once we're here, and if it's all working right, you'll see the LEGO Universe logo and login page. So we're going to log in to our admin account here. And once we're here, we can see our admin dashboard. It'll show the activity of your users, and from here you can generate account creation keys. So you can add however many you need, and then you can create the keys. And then if you want someone you know to sign up for an account to log into your LEGO Universe server, you're going to want to give them this link here, which would be the same HTTP, your IP address, :5000, and then /activate. And then once they get here, they can type in the key that you give them, and then they can type in their username and their password, and then it'll create an account and add it to your database on the server. This way they don't have to actually connect to your server to create an account. They can just be given a key that they can't access otherwise and create their account that way. And then once their account is created, they can log in using your IP address in their client. Alright, so now all that's left to do is to open up the game and get into your server. So we're going to go to our client folder and click on legouniverse.exe, open that bad boy up, and once we get in, if you look down at the bottom, you should be able to see the IP address that we should be using. My username was already autofilled because I was doing this earlier, but type in your username for your admin account, and then type in the password for that account, hit enter, and if it all connects properly, you'll get sent to the character creation menu. So I do hope that everyone was able to get past this without any issue. Again, if you do need help, you can join my Discord server. So before I finish up, I just want to show you how to stop the server and how to start it again. To stop the account manager or the server, you want to connect to the terminal session, and all you have to do is hit Control-C like you're copying something, and it will close the process. And then you can type Control-B and then D to disconnect. And then just like I showed earlier, you do tmux -t, and then you type in DLU-server or account, whichever one you need to do next. And then again, you just hit Control-C, and the server takes 30 seconds to maybe a minute to shut down, but eventually it will completely shut down. This would only be if you need to restart the server for some reason. So that was the process of shutting down the account manager in the server, but I do want to show you what you would need to do if you had to completely restart your virtual machine. Alright, so I just restarted the server, and now I'm just pretending like the whole computer is restarted, both the server and my own computer. So you're going to want to open up PuTTY and look for the session that you saved. We saved the DLU one, and it'll fill in your IP, and then just hit open, and it'll connect back to your computer. Now that we're in, we can type sudo service mysql start, hit enter, and now that should be all set. And then we're going to start our terminal sessions again, so we're going to type tmux new -s DLU server, hit enter. Then we're going to do cd/home/ubuntu /darkflame server /build. Then we're going to do sudo /master server no dash, just /master server. Hit enter. And now our server will be starting up, and we're going to type Control-B, D to detach from that session. We're going to make another session, so tmux new -s DLU-account, hit enter. Then cd/home/ubuntu /account manager. Then we're going to type python 3 app.py. And I guess if you weren't planning on adding new accounts when you start up the server again, you don't have to start this. But if you want to be able to add new users without having to start this up every time, I would just recommend starting it when you start the server. And again, you just hit Control-B + D, and then you're all set, and your server is back up and running, and you can jump right back into the game. So I hope this video was easy to follow and helpful for you setting up a multiplayer server on a virtual machine. Again, make sure to check out the links in my description to the Darkflame server GitHub, the guide that I adapted to this video, as well as the LEGO Universe subreddit and their Discord. Those are great resources if you need help. I'm also more than willing to help you, so you can always use the link in the description to join my Discord, and I will help you out if I can. If you're joining for help, make sure that you specify that you are coming from the VPS video and not the WSL video, because I'll have people coming from both, and I want to make sure that I'm able to help you properly. But if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments below. Tell me on Discord, wherever you want to say it. I really appreciate you watching, and I hope this was helpful. Thank you.